Thanks everybody for coming out. I'm Jeremy Schoonmaker. I work for Hewlett Packard as a pre-sales technology consultant. When I was a kid, I had this blanket. It was a Winnie the Pooh blanket. I loved this blanket. It was the best blanket. It was soft, it was comfortable, it was warm. I called it my Woogie. When I was little, I could snuggle into my Woogie, and I put it over me, and I could stay comfortable and warm. I felt great. Any of you have a Woogie of your own? You can call it something else, it's all right. Does anybody still have one? If you do, that's all right. When we talk about security and we talk about security policies, we think about it as a blanket a lot of the times. And we think, gee, it's nice to feel comfortable inside our security policy and inside our procedures and inside our technology. But suddenly, if you cut a hole in that blanket, your foot sticks out and it's breathing in, you don't feel so great. And that's why we're here today. We're supposed to be talking about how we can patch up the holes in our security blanket, how we can make our policies more stable, how we can make our technology more stable. So I want to talk to you today about embedded devices, how they're being overlooked in patching up our security. Now, embedded devices, when I say that, what I mean is I've got devices that are not traditionally thought of as normal endpoints, but have embedded operating systems. These are on the network, and they're usually used to manage other functions within the company and make users more productive. And these embedded devices, they're out there on everybody's network now, but they're being overlooked when we build a security policy and we build security on our network. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of these leading to hacks and disruption in companies. There's a couple examples. We talked about a number of these, a couple of retailers where hackers got in from an embedded device. HVAC system or a self-checkout terminal, devices that are sitting on the network and have network access, are sometimes overlooked in the normal security policy. We've got a car, right? We're talking about the Internet of Things, but these things have operating systems in there, they're running applications, they've got Wi-Fi access, and they can be hacked. I like this last one. I mean, I don't like it, but it's fun to use. Here's a company that in Europe had ransomware, which we talked about a lot, and the way they installed the ransomware wasn't through an email pack, it was through a label printer. But it's sitting unsecured on the network and allowed them access to other resources and enabled them to install ransomware and really shut down the company. So these embedded devices are big openings sitting on the network that have access to a number of network resources and can lead to vulnerabilities in the company. Here's another one, right? We talked a lot about, in that last slide, people using these for crime or profit. This is another big example that happened earlier this year, where somebody was using embedded devices on people's networks for propaganda. Have you guys seen this? NBC News? This guy went out and found devices open on the internet. They weren't behind a firewall, which is probably mistake number one, but these are devices that need to be open on the internet so people could access them. And he found them and parsed a list of 29,000 of these that he found really quickly, really easily on a website that you could access today if you wanted to. Didn't even have to hack or install malware. We just sent a really quick command that said, print on port 9100, which is what we usually use for printing. Well, these devices out on the internet didn't have any protection on them, had port 9100 open, and suddenly 29,000 devices suddenly have hate flyers coming out. And this was pretty big. I work in the print industry, so this was huge for us. We saw a lot of news articles about it, but guess what? It happened again a couple months later. Same guy, same process, used a different printing protocol, didn't use port 9100, used one called LPR, and found another 50,000 devices and sent out Nazi hate flyers. Just because people had these devices out on the internet, which is something they needed to do. Most of them were universities, and universities will put printers out there on the internet so students and faculty can access them when they're not in the building. But they didn't include them in any sort of security policy. They put them there, but didn't think, hey, how do we make sure that they're safe where they are? When we go and talk to customers at HP, we're finding that a lot of people are spending time at events like this, spending a lot of time looking at security and doing a lot of good things with security, protecting their servers and switches and networks, but overlooking print devices. And why overlook print devices? Because after all, printers look a lot like PCs nowadays, right? If you look at an HP MFP, we have a keyboard, we have a touchscreen interface, we're running a version of Windows as an operating system, an embedded version of Windows. We can install third-party applications on there. We have a hard drive, we have memory, we We have fax, we use scanned email, we have access to Active Directory. And people are spending a lot of money protecting data on their networks, sometimes millions of dollars, but all of a sudden, as soon as you push Control-P, that data that you just spent hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to protect is sitting on the output tray of one of these devices. So it's an often overlooked thing, and it's an easy way for somebody to get into your environment. One of the reasons I think people are overlooking these is because, from a printer perspective, there's a lot of vulnerability points. We don't just have the access to the network, we don't just have the hardware, we don't just have the memory like a PC does, but we also have input trays, we have output trays, and we have capture. And so there's a lot more to look at than just the device on the network. But even so, with the device on the network, check this out. HP's identified over 250 settings on our MSPs that relate to security. And those are credentials and accessing the device, and who can actually access the device, and what pieces of the device and functions they can access. But it's also, hey, are we going to store, again, SMTP credentials in there? Are we going to store LDAP credentials on there? Are we going to have open protocols like Telnet? Until recently, Telnet's an open protocol that's been on every HP printer since 1995. That's generally not a protocol people use, and it's generally not secure, but very few people actually even turn it on. So this is a sort of a complicated process, and when you go into a company, a lot of people say, yeah, we look at printers, but the only thing they do is do this. A single credential. It's usually an embedded web server password, and say, our printers are safe. Hopefully you guys aren't in that situation, but that's what we see a lot of the time. And folks don't know how to go about implementing a print policy for their devices. So I'm going to break this down a little bit easier. There's really three main attack vectors you need to consider. You need to protect your device, you need to protect your data, and you need to protect your documents. And I've got some great examples of people that have taken advantage of this. This is kind of a fun story. I think this is more exciting than scary, but a hacker exploited the device and installed a video game on it. They installed Doom on a printer. Yeah, I think the manufacturer should label that as a feature. Scan, copy, Candy Crush, but what do you do? So, if a hacker can go in and exploit firmware to install a video game on there, imagine what they can do if they wanted to steal data. Suddenly they're going to put a firmware in there that says, hey, every time you send a print job on it, also email me a copy of that job for this extra $14. Right? There's a lot of things you can do if you can get access to a device's firmware. Data breach is pretty common. This was another big story. It was on CBS News maybe in 2010. I think it's what kind of sparked a lot of print furor over security, which is they went and found recycled devices, pulled out the hard drives. They bought these for $100 a piece, pulled out the hard drive, and did some basic forensic analysis on the devices and found all kinds of stuff. One of them, they found the copy was from the police department. So they had arrest records. One was from a hospital, and I think one was from like an insurance company. Because people had encrypted their data, because they had wiped their drives on their printers, suddenly there was access to all this devices. And the scary thing on that report, if you guys saw it, was that they bought 3 devices out of a lot of about 100 that got put on the ship and sent overseas. So all that data suddenly became in the hands of other people. All this data that hits the printer every time you put print, if you don't take care of it, it makes a vulnerability. And the last thing is documents. Right? When we click print, we're printing out information. And a lot of companies are finding that people are printing important information, right? They're printing either customer information or they're printing personal things. I know a guy that when I walked up to a printer one day was printing out his application for a passport. Sitting on the output tray. Or this story that I've got linked here was an investment banker who sat next to the shared printer. Anytime he saw a print job come out, he just kind of scooted his chair back and picked it up and read it, put it back down. And over the next couple months, he made $7 million in insider trading because people were printing information about their accounts, and he was able to access it just by moving his chair and picking the page up off the output. So these are the 3 things you want to protect: device, data, and documents. Now, I want you to take a second and think about what you will do for security in your company or your company's, whatever it is. Think about security policies in place.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that.
This is the start of a print security policy. For your device. Are we going through a secure boot process and making sure the firmware code that gets loaded is valid? Are you trying to detect intrusions? Because guess what? Printers run operating systems that can get malware, they can get viruses. So does your antivirus look at the printers? Do you have any process in place for looking at that printer? Do you have any assurance that the settings that you want to put on there, including the passwords and the network protocols that are open, do you have any way to assure that those are constantly set? Do you have any way to audit against that? And you have any way to get analytics about what's happening about the device to make sure that in real time you're seeing these intrusions happen and you're getting information about them. From data perspective, are you authenticating users at the front panel? Are you making sure the people that are sending out emails are really who they say they are? Are you encrypting your hard drives? Are you encrypting your print traffic? Or is that just going across the wire completely unencrypted? And when you're done with the device, are you guys properly disposing of that data? Or are you sending it out with that data still on the server? And lastly, in terms of documents, secure print practices. Are you leaving documents sitting on an output tray? This is an easy thing to check. When you go back to your company, walk around a little bit, walk on the printer's output tray, see if there's unused documents sitting on there, called orphan documents. Are you ensuring that you're compliant with document workflows? Are you able to audit your faxing? Are you able to audit through scans? Are you compliant with whatever government compliance you're doing, with HIPAA or with Sarbanes-Oxley or with PCI? And lastly, are you managing and monitoring who's printing what? Do you have any way to audit who's printed how many pages, what they've printed, when they printed it? If the answer to any of those and many questions is no, and you're starting to feel a little bit of draft coming through your security policy blanket, then talk to your EarthBend rep, talk to us at the HP booth, and we'll set you on the right track to getting your devices secured on the net. Thank you very much.